Hey guys, wanted to record a video for you real quick because during your reading, you'll be reading through Chapter 7 of Great Gatsby. Chapter 7, a lot happens. It's kind of like the big climactic chapter of the book, well, one of them, and really sets up for how the book concludes. But I also know that it can be a little confusing because of the logistics that get depicted over this chapter. There's a lot of different things that happen. So I'm going to do a real quick breakdown of chapter 7 for you so we can kind of all have a pretty firm grasp on what the heck happens during this series of events. Spoiler alert! I'm talking about what happens in this chapter, and some significant stuff happens. If you have not read chapter 7 yet, and probably you should go and just read the whole thing through 9, you've been warned. Like, spoilers. Alright, cool. So, we start off with the chapter. Everyone's going to go have drinks over at Daisy's. Gatsby has been invited, and he joins Nick over there. While they're drinking at the Buchanan's household, Tom sees the way Daisy and Gatsby are talking and looking at each other, and his mongoloid brain, something clicks, and he goes, "Oh, okay, I think I get it." And so he recognizes that there's something between those two that we saw as the reader built up in the previous chapters. Jordan's there with Nick. They're kind of doing their own thing. Gatsby's playing his whole old sport thing. During their time there, Daisy gets the idea, let's go to the city. Let's go. It's going to be great. It's a hot day, y'all. Please remember this whole time, it is hot. So they go to the city, but there's some tricks that go into the city. Tom likes Gatsby's car. It's a nice car. So after they talk, Tom insists that he drives Gatsby's car and that Nick and Jordan join him, which puts Gatsby and Daisy in Tom's car as they drive to the city. So that's going to be super important. Tom's driving this bright yellow, fantastic, crazy car. Now, a lot of things in this book are yellow, and oftentimes when things are yellow, they're spoiled. They're not good anymore, right? Color really matters. Anyways, Tom's driving Gatsby's car. It's bright yellow. They go towards the city, but Gatsby points out, bro, that car probably is going to need gas. And Tom goes, no problem. I'll take care of it. I got money. It's cool. So he stops for gas at, of course, Wilson's garage. Wilson sees the car, is really impressed by it. Cool, whatever. We learn while we're there that Wilson has discovered Myrtle, his wife, and Tom's secret lover. He discovers that Myrtle is having an affair. Now, Wilson is not sure who it's with or what the deal is. He's found it. He's found if I remember correctly, a dog collar in her drawers. He's like, nope, she's up to something. There's something going on. So Wilson has locked Myrtle up in his room, which is itself a problematic situation. Myrtle, from her room in the top of the garage, while Tom and Wilson talk and they refill the car with gas, Myrtle sees Jordan in the car. But what she sees is not Nick's girlfriend, Jordan. She sees she thinks to be is Tom's wife. So that's going to matter as well. So she sees this and it makes her upset. They get gas. They continue to the city. In the city, they get a room because they need a place to stay. In that room, again, remember y'all, it's hot. In that room, Tom asks Gatsby. He calls him out. He calls out all of this situation. He calls out Gatsby for his old sport nonsense, for the way he acts and the way he behaves. And we finally learn the truth, or most of the truth, of Gatsby's situation, which for brevity I'm not going to cover right now, but you guys can check it out. We learned that like everything's put on the table, right? Everything about Gatsby is there. And then Tom calls Daisy's love into question. He also is super racist, which is super crappy. But anyways, he calls Daisy's love into question and really is like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's not what this is, whatever. It's super awkward for both Nick and Jordan, right? They both have this argument, this spat. No one touches the alcohol, which is important because remember, drinking is a big part of this story, often as a way of relaxing or socializing, at least for Gatsby and sometimes for Tom. And so by them not drinking, like, there's even more tension here, right? It's raw. It's super awkward. Gatsby and Daisy leave in Gatsby's car. Remember, this bright yellow car. Shortly afterwards, Tom and Nick and Jordan follow in Tom's blue car. Remember also, people drive fast in this book. Like, they book it. They're going. So Daisy and Gatsby are driving home, and Gatsby's driving back in Gatsby's car really quickly. And then we find out that while they were driving past Wilson's garage, Myrtle, seeing a yellow car on the horizon and thinking it's Tom's car, has broken out of her room and runs out into the street to see Tom. But the yellow car is going too quickly to stop, and there's another car coming the other way, so they kind of, the yellow car can't pull out of the way, and Myrtle gets hit, which Tom finds out as he pulls up. At first excited because he's one of those rubberneckers who wants to see an accident, and then when he gets closer, he realizes what has happened. Myrtle was killed by the collision. Wilson is inconsolable. Tom goes to talk to Wilson, and Wilson finds out that it was a bright yellow car. Tom knows that bright yellow car belongs to Gatsby. Tom blames Gatsby. That's gonna matter, right? Nick and Jordan again are in the car, kind of uncomfortable. Wilson will find out from Tom that Gatsby, that car belonged to Gatsby. We'll find that out later. So Tom then, upset, of course, gets back into the car. They head back to the Buchanan household. At the Buchanan household, Tom invites Jordan and Nick in for a meal. Jordan accepts. Jordan obliges because she's so aloof. She just is walking through things and lets things happen. And this is just another thing that she's letting happen. Nick refuses. He will not go in. He is disgusted by everybody he's seen. He's disgusted by Tom. He's disgusted by Daisy. He's disgusted by Gatsby. He doesn't even want to talk to Jordan anymore. Jordan wants him to come in. He refuses. It upsets Jordan. Nick hails a taxi and can't stand waiting next to the house, so he walks out the long driveway to the street. And at the street, he runs into Gatsby, who emerges like that meme of Homer Simpson walking into a bush, but in reverse. He emerges from a bush and talks to Nick. And from Gatsby, we learn a couple of important things. Most importantly, Daisy was the one driving the car. Gatsby was not driving. Gatsby tried to stop it, but couldn't do anything. And then to protect Daisy, prepares to take the blame. That's going to be super important as well, right? So Gatsby says he's going to spend the night keeping an eye on the house, convinced that Daisy is going to, once Tom goes to sleep, come out to meet him, and they're going to maintain their romance. But as we know, that romance it's gone. It's over. Something irreparable has happened to that relationship because of the realism, the reality of the situation that they are now in, and the reality of the conversation, and Tom calling their love out and calling Gatsby out. Something in this book, you can tell from reading it and you can tell from the actions, has irrevocably changed. Gatsby says he's going to stay here and wait for Daisy to flicker a light if she needs help, or to come out to him, and he's gonna play bodyguard, right? But Nick saw through the window Tom and Daisy eating a meal, well, sitting at a meal, and they're not eating. They're clearly not happy, but it says they weren't happy. Neither of them had touched the chicken or the ale, and yet they weren't unhappy either. And like that moment of neutrality, of just kind of complacency with where they're at, really kind of signifies the end of Gatsby's and Daisy's fling, their romance. And then from there on, we kind of see the natural progression of everything falling apart in the next chapters, which I very sincerely hope you've read. You'll notice the house change, like Gatsby's house changes, and it becomes the things he was hiding now become the things that he's living, and it gets darker and grayer, and things start to fall apart, and it reaches its inevitable conclusion with Wilson believing he's found the owner of the yellow car that killed his wife. So hopefully that helps clear up some things for you guys. I know it's like just a beautiful PowerPoint, right? It's a little confusing, but I think the way these events play out is really important. And I wanted to make sure you understood that so you could really focus in on what it is that the story is about and not what happens in the story. If you have any questions, y'all let me know.